Hello, Wellness Check Wednesdays community. We wanted to take a moment to remind you that while our podcast serves as a safe space for open discussions and sharing experiences, we are not mental health experts. This podcast is a platform for you to express your thoughts, feelings, and experiences in a judgment-free zone. Our aim is to foster connection, provide support, and create a sense of community. It's crucial to acknowledge that we are not a substitute for professional mental health advice or treatment. If you or someone you know is dealing with mental health challenges, we strongly encourage seeking guidance from qualified professionals. Remember, reaching out to mental health experts can make a significant difference. If you ever feel the need, don't hesitate to connect with a licensed therapist, counselor, or healthcare professional.
This is the Wellness Check Wednesdays podcast, a share space, a judgment-free zone, a place to meet and discuss our mental health. So let's check in.
Well. Here we are again on another wonderful and beautiful Wednesday. This is the Wellness Check Wednesdays podcast. And we encourage each and every one of our listeners and everyone out there when we journey on this mental health awareness situation we got going on. We always encourage everyone to
Let's check in.
As you should know by now, this is episode 43. We've been doing this 43 times. My name is Brian Livingston. I am the moderator of the Wellness Check Wednesdays podcast. Try to keep things on the track, but I be struggling at times because, man, we go on tangents. We rant, we rave, we talk about some things, and we really just get a lot of things off of our chest. And we encourage that type of behavior because sometimes we just need to let it go. But
In a safe space.
we, when it comes to this podcast, I have to give a big shout out to the originator. So we're going to travel to Cleveland, Ohio, by way of Cleveland, Ohio, one the only Edwin Vereen.
Fellas, what's going on? I'm a little tired. Was in the gym yesterday, had to break up a good sweat. And guess what I did for the first time this morning?
You made breakfast?
No, always always make breakfast. I tried yoga.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, boy.
Yeah,
So you tried yogurt?
yoga. YOGA.
I think you got the T on there, B.
No. YOGA. Yo and ga. Yo, yeah. I tried yoga for the first time.
Were you folks? Were you sitting Indian style, folded up and everything?
Yep, crisscross applesauce. Did the warrior pose. Ain't do no downward dog. It felt pretty good, man, because I'm feeling the soreness from the gym yesterday, but now I'm just more like, oh, okay, that yoga. It was a good stretching routine. Because I always want to have like a good stretching routine when I get up in the morning, and I think I found it. Got a pretty cool instructor, kind of do it online, you know what I'm saying? And it's, I'll talk about it off air. But yeah, other than that, I'm feeling good, feeling fine. It's been a long work week, despite the fact it's only Wednesday, but we here now.
I know. And physical health is also part of mental health. So kudos to you stepping into the yoga game. I don't know if my legs or arms to do any of that bend that way. So I'm gonna stretch it out real quick. But
Yeah, you'll probably be bending and breaking wind. Trust me, breaking wind.
wow, we're gonna take a
somebody's
trip
at the
back
door.
here by way of Fayetteville, North Carolina, by way of the Share Studios of the originator, Mr. Kevin Marshall.
Bum, 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 bum. Bringing in number 33 years around the sun, blessed and highly flavored.
Oh.
Hey, it's a birthday.
Yeah, so you're turning 33 on
Monday.
Monday.
Yes,
So
sir.
I do understand we record and we publish the next week, so it will be after your birthday that people will hear this. But on Monday, October 7th, did I do quick math right?
Yes, sir.
Monday, October 7th is Kevin's 33rd birthday. So I wish him a very happy and wonderful birthday.
Thank you. Thank you.
We are blessed to have you in our lives. Don't take that compliment too far. You're doing too much already. All right, cool. And we're gonna take a trip down to Oklahoma. My man Brad B3, how are you doing today?
Was okay before I found out the Astros lost. So I'll eventually be okay. But other than that, life is life, things are things, stuff is stuff. So good to be back talking with you guys this week. I was on some travels last week, so couldn't join in, but I heard it was a great show last week.
Oh, man.
Right on. Glad you're safe, bro.
Yes, sir.
Brad, we talked about venting.
Ooh.
Ooh, boy, you missed a good one. You missed a good one.
So,
But hopefully we'll revisit it one day. We're gonna try to revisit some things, but it is what it is.
absolutely.
Hey, just think of it this way, Brad. I know that with your Astros losing and everything, just go bang on the trash can and make you feel better. All right, cool.
Wow. Oh boy, here we go.
Yeah, bang on that trash can like Shane McMahon.
Wow.
Here comes
Really?
some money. As I'm doing the dance.
Wow. Wow. That man went there. Hey,
He did that.
I hope the Braves get swept and they never make the playoffs for 10 years.
Don't do that.
I will. I am petty, sir. I am petty.
I deserve that.
Brad, that is some diabolical, evil, dastardly work. That's what that
It
is.
is. It is because even though I'm a face, I'm truly a heel at heart.
Oh.
Oh, man. I'm gonna cut a promo one day. That's what I need to do. I'm gonna cut a promo myself, man.
Sure.
Quick shout out to my man G Money and Ring Wars Carolina. Allowing me to produce a promo for them and everything, and I'm looking forward to a good business partnership with them and promoting their brand and everything like that. So shout out to them. They actually do put on a pretty good show. The independent circuit is a beautiful thing when it comes to wrestling, and I know they ain't got nothing to do with mental health and wellness check Wednesdays, but it applies to my mental health. I am a happy person. All right, cool. With that being said, we were just recently discussing how long we've been doing this. Again, this is episode 43. I want to say we've only missed, 2 weeks? So, I mean, we started this journey in December, and we wanted just to look back and reflect after 10 months of the Wellness Check Wednesdays podcast. And what have we learned? And so it's very vital. Like we've had 43 topics, and not all of them have been 43 different topics, but they all intertwine in a way. But what are our biggest takeaways from this podcast? Again, any podcast, like they also say that any podcast that makes it over 6 episodes, you're actually doing something. Then when you reach other milestones, 25, 40, we're at 43. We're going to keep this going as long as they allow us and allow me to. And again, we don't even need this space really. We could do it from anywhere. So we're just going to keep doing it until the cell towers decide not to work anymore. With that being said, also before we step into that, because mentioning cell towers is a slight joke or anything like that, prayers and thoughts to Western North Carolina, upstate South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Alabama, all places that were affected by Hurricane Helene. It has been devastating, but I've also seen so many people reach out, so many people, convoys of supplies, food. They're loading up trailers now as we speak. Whole nother situation with now the grocery stores and people buying up all the toilet paper because of the port strikes and everything. That's a whole nother story.
That and Also, too, with me being part of the Jeep community, shout out to all the Jeepers, the clubs, all of the communities going out to being able to get a car to people's front door to pull people out of situations, to pull vehicles out of situations. Like, shout out to the Jeep world. Big facts.
Yep. Not about you, Kevin. All right, cool.
I'll
I'm
cut it out.
I'm messing with you. I'm incredibly thankful to all the efforts that are going out to these communities, to everyone that's been affected. A lot of people are still without power, on rooftop, stranded. It has been a lot. So I want to mention that before we dive into what we have taken away from the 10 months that we've been doing this. And that's one of the biggest takeaways more than anything is when it comes to mental health, knowing when our mental health, our personal mental health could take a step back to making sure that others that really need even just a conversation, even just an avenue, an outlet. So I want to definitely express thoughts and prayers to especially Western North Carolina, the Asheville area. It is entire towns have been lost. Right, it's been crazy. But yes, anything and everything that anyone can do to help. American Red Cross is definitely putting in a lot of work and effort into individual businesses, especially in the Fayetteville area that I see firsthand. I'm going to pass the mic over because y'all don't want to hear me this entire time. I'm going to pass the mic over to Edwin. Edwin, let us know your takeaways. What have you learned from this podcast?
I've learned that this podcast is my new form of therapy. I don't know if I disclosed with you guys, but as of about 2, maybe 3.5 months ago, I ceased therapy because number one, I feel I don't need it every week like I once did because I just felt like there were times in my life where every time I turned around, something was going on, something was being said, and I was in a situation, and I felt like that I would run to my therapist. Although my therapist was there to help me navigate through the situation and help me come up with strategies to handle certain situations, there comes a point in life like, look, you're not going to have that crutch. You don't need it. I mean, it was great to have my therapist there. We're still on good terms, and it was great to have my therapist there, but sometimes I have to in life, you got to kind of figure it out on your own. You got to kind of navigate through the waters on your own. So I'm forever grateful for my therapist for giving me the necessary tools to handle certain situations. And I've noticed that since this podcast started right up until now, that life has gotten better. Life has gotten different. Things have happened. Things have changed. We'll tell the origin stories of the Wellness Check Wednesday podcast on our end of the year episode. Y'all stay tuned, don't miss it. But I, yeah, but I just remember, a little quick thing, just remember, just start this as a status. Wellness Check Wednesday, how's everybody doing? And then it grew to this, and then Be Live got Kevin involved, and me, Be Live, and Kevin had conversations, and then also we've had other people involved throughout the duration of this podcast. And shout out to them too for their appearances on the podcast as well too. And then later on, Brad joined us, and that's when I knew we had something special. Um, it's just, no, we're not licensed therapists. We just three men, three black men, a rarity that you see three black men getting together, being vulnerable, and talking about what's bothering them, and really like helping each other out through this space, helping each other out, towards this crazy world. Because not to get too deep into race and everything, as black men, we know how some of society feels about us. And sometimes it's tough to lean on somebody because we don't know if we can trust them or if they have an ulterior motive or they're, trying to get over brother on us and everything. So it's just a blessing to have a lifelong friend, Be Live, Kev, Brad, develop these relationships and come together once a week just to kind of just to get it off our chest whatever's going on, just to get off our chest, get off our minds, and just leave with a whole lot less mess in the bag than what we came in with. Because we came in there with a big old bag, and the bag was weighing us down to the point we had to throw it off our shoulder, drag it on the ground, and pull it. But then the bag, but then if you pull a bag on the ground long enough, it's going to rip.
Mhm.
So I would say that this podcast came about right before the ripping point of the bag, and I'm just blessed to be a part of this, man. I tell people all the time, hey, I got a wellness check, I got a mental health podcast, wellness check Wednesday podcast. I've even asked some therapists to check it out. Um, I still have plans to have, and so a few therapists on here, and just have people on here that just want to come here and not be judged, not be ridiculed. I mean, I know I talked about talk about my life a lot. I know I talk about work a lot, but the thing about it is like this is a safe space for me to talk about it. I won't get judged, get ridiculed, even though it's in the public atmosphere. And then, I know certain people listen to podcasts and certain people don't, so that way I can say what I want to say. But if I would get confronted in public, I'm like, well, you can tune to episode 37 at 14:55 and you play it, and yeah, I said that. I
Right.
ain't running from it. Yeah, I said that. I mean, this is my safe space. You can't do nothing to me. This is my safe space. I didn't say your name. I didn't say the venue, but this is my safe space. So, I just love doing this every Wednesday. So much to the point as to where I used to work on Wednesdays. Now Wednesday is a day of no, no, I'm not available to do it. So that way I can put my full focus and attention in that. And I've picked up another day in the week to have said hours. But I enjoy this. I really do, and I'm just blessed to be a part of it.
Um, and Edwin, we very much appreciate what you have. I mean, you brought something to the table that was so very important, and
Mm.
like just you reaching out, just a simple wellness check Wednesday. How's everyone doing? It was a very simple but such a very powerful statement because we move so fast in life. Like I can't believe it's October already. Like that's how crazy
Yeah.
this year is, and we've got one more month of craziness. You already know we had a whole episode about it.
Yep.
And we just had the vice presidential debate yesterday, which was pretty calm. I was okay with it. It was a lot less chaotic than I thought it was gonna be. That's all there.
It
So with this,
it's like, oh my God, we got adults acting like adults.
oh, having conversations. Maybe they listen to our podcast. Like, you know what? We've been acting up, but that's all. But no, I wanna especially give flowers, give respect where respect is due because Edwin, when you first started posting about Wellness Check Wednesdays, I looked at it, I was like, you know what? And the thing about it is I actually never responded. I may have like commented like once or twice. I looked at
Mhm.
it, I was like, you know what? He's doing his thing. I'm cool with it. I'm sitting on the sideline. I ain't about to put nothing out there just yet. But then it grew. And then Kevin brought up a couple things, a couple ideas that he had. I was like, these ideas align. And I want y'all to get together and facilitate, do some things. Kevin, I want to pass the mic over to you as an originator. What have you taken away from these past 42, and this is our 43rd episode, the past 10 months of this podcast?
First and foremost, I mentioned it earlier, and I do want to shout out one community of Jeepers here in North Carolina, the Ville City Jeeps. We do a Jeep night every Wednesday to combine efforts with Red Cross and other foundations to help out in Western North Carolina. So if you're an avid listener, if you're tuning in, like go check them out. It's a great cause for great support. Secondly, I've learned that reflecting on how many episodes and what we have talked about and the ideas that we have come up with, that it's okay to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
It is okay to find, as we have said, that confidant or that core counsel to where, we can come together and every week we're able just to take a little bit out of that bag that we're bringing with us every week.
Mhm.
And now we're not saying that you have to empty it every time. But as long as you're able to take little strides, little shovelfuls, little handfuls out of that bag, you're accomplishing something. And also too, it's an eye opener because with the wide range of ages that we also do have on this podcast, and that for the oh, I got my words tied up. For the people and the guests that we have had come on, it is also one of those things that hearing other people's stories of what they've overcome and what they've seen, and thinking like, damn, what have I done? And not thinking about, damn, I overcome this, I overcome that. I'm just as powerful as what they are. And it's come to a better understanding that, take things for what they are and just roll with it.
That's awesome. That's powerful because, and one thing I definitely gathered from what you were speaking on is that we sometimes we minimize our impact. We think that sometimes we're less than because
Definitely.
we don't have the title, we don't have the big job or whatever, we don't have the accolades that some people might have, but impact is just impact. And it comes in many different forms, shapes, and sizes. And so that's what Kevin, I applaud you so much because I mean you have an impact. You have a profound impact, and seeing what part of your vision come to light and everything.
Oh, it's ecstatic.
It's a beautiful thing, and I'm glad to be a part of it. I'm glad to be able to say like, hey, that's my dude doing big things. And Kev, I appreciate you
I
for the
appreciate you, man.
effort that you put into this, man. Absolutely. Let's take the trip to Oklahoma. Brad B3, you've been a mainstay with us here. We are much appreciative of you coming on with us each and every week, and a couple weeks that you miss us, all right, because I mean can't do it all the time. Heck. But when I tell you to have you on the program all the way in Oklahoma, it is a testament of just meeting different people, common ground, and just to reach the potential that this podcast actually has. So, Brad, I want to pass the mic over to you. What have you taken away from this podcast? What have you learned these past 10 months with us?
Oh, well, with the I know I kind of joined a little late with the podcast, over the last 10 months, but better late than never. I've kind of discovered that this is it's a great safe space, to talk about, the different things that we have going on, and especially with the topics that are brought up from week to week. That like dealing with certain things in the workplace, for example, like that episode was pretty helpful, especially me being a remote worker. They always try to find different methods of mental health and stuff for remote workers, in the program I'm in. So, when we touched on, that topic, that was pretty sweet. That was definitely something I took away. And, it's just great being with you guys over these last few months, discussing mental health because, as you know, in our community, mental health isn't entirely, brought to a positive light. It's usually shunned or frowned upon, but it's it's great to be able to talk about these things and get our thoughts and feelings out.
Yeah.
So, man, it again, very, very powerful message there. And having that impact, being able to take away from this podcast and seeing positive reaction, positive steps that have been taken is always it's beautiful. It really is. I wanna opine just a little bit on my biggest takeaway from this podcast.
I was just going to say, now the biggest question is to our producer, to our moderator, to our Amtrak coordinator, Be Live. What have you taken away in these past 10 months?
Well, I'm a first piggyback off of what Brad just said because for 2 years, for the 2 years before I started doing this, I was I was a work from home person, and they harped on mental health, because being stuck in the house 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week,
it'll drive you a little batty, won't it?
Customer service, answer help desk, phone calls, hearing all kinds of mess, it will drive you bat crazy. Because it comes from so many different walks of life. Everybody has an iPhone. They forget their passwords. But it was one of those things where when I worked with Apple, they had a lot of outlets, and I didn't take any of them because I always had this stigma about mental health. If I start going to therapy, if I start doing these group things, am I admitting that I'm crazy? Am I admitting that I'm not crazy? There's nothing wrong with me. Until you realize there's a lot wrong with you. And my biggest takeaway was this podcast took away that stigma. It made it actually cool to talk about the things that we're going through. It made it actually entertaining. We have many laughs on this show over some of the silly stuff
oh my God, yeah.
and it's very therapeutic. And on top of that, it's cool. It's many a week. Like, I can honestly say, if it wasn't for this having this outlet of this talking about the stuff that we go through, the life walk that I'm going through would be a lot rougher. Is my life peaches and cream with a cherry and a cherry on top? No. I struggle from week to week and day to day and stuff like that. But this podcast makes it just a little bit easier. Because the biggest thing is I'm not in this alone. Years, for decades, I would smile for the public, grin ear to ear, life of the party. I was always Mr. Positive and giving the world this version of myself. And then when the lights turn off and I am back at home by myself,
you start thinking.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Yeah, you start thinking.
I put myself through hell thinking that I was just in this by myself. And I have a very good support system. I have very good friends. My Edwin and my boy JR, we've been best friends for 26 years.
Ever. You know, it's a long time when you take the foe off that mother.
We've been best friends for 26 years. And we've gone through hell and high water and back again and all the things. And even there was times where, like, I couldn't even talk to them because we men, we strong. But this podcast made it cool. And to embark on this journey with Edwin, with Kevin. Kevin is my brother. Like, Edwin is my brother. Brad, you aight.
Damn.
He's an Astros fan. I just can't.
Oh boy, here we go.
You're okay. You're okay yourself. I mean, even though you're a Panthers fan too, you're okay. So it's fine. It's fine.
So Brad, you got to deal with me. You got to deal with B Live and our brother Marcus on the Connoisseurs of Pro Wrestling podcast as Panthers fan.
Yes. And the only time I was a Panthers fan was when they were in the Super Bowl against the Patriots. I felt terrible. I felt awful. But you know what? Anything better than the Patriots.
I'm still sick. I'm
still
sick.
I need therapy right now because you brought it back up. AC, why you kick the ball out of bounds, bruh?
Because you didn't have to bring up the trash can thing. That hurts. that hurt so much. I know it wasn't true. All these allegations.
I plead the fifth.
1, 2, 3, 4, feel.
Yeah,
this is what I'm talking about right here. This camaraderie, this banter across the board. This is so therapeutic, and I'm especially thankful, and I hope that this message reaches out to the world, is that talking about it, being aware about it, mental health awareness does not have to be a bad thing. Let's take care of each other. Let's just enjoy life together. Let's just have fun.
Can I say one thing? Because you'd have said cool one more time, I'd have been like, this man been watching Family Guy too much. You remember that episode of Family Guy where everybody's talking about, it's cool. Look at Toad. It's cool. Look at Toad.
You shut up. My best friend's nickname is Cool. So that's
facts.
Eddie, cool. In the house, player, haters, watch your mouth.
I said, this has been and will continue to be amazing to just join you guys every Wednesday.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I'm looking forward to this growing and growing and growing, and because it's needed. It's important. There's a lot of craziness that's going on in the world right now. And if there's nothing else that we can do with all the stuff that's going on in the outside world, let's at least just work on our mental health, because it's a lot. And I always want to be optimistic.
One more time.
Optimistic.
Flying.
Optimistic.
As long as you keep your head to the sky.
Just go, you know what? I'm good. And it goes.
Gee.
No, we still got.
Hey, Be Live, I'm over here hitting the Osho silent laugh.
Oh my God.
But
that's what I get. That's what I get for talking too much.
Hey,
fellas, we have a little bit of time, and what I'm gonna pose a question to each one of you.
Okay.
We've learned a lot from this podcast.
We've learned a lot from each other also.
Absolutely. What do we want to learn in the future? How do you envision the Wellness Check Wednesdays podcast in 2 months, which will be our year mark? A year from now, 5 years from now, make it to 5 years.
Damn.
Hey, I don't usually bring religion into this, but there's a whole book in the Bible about what's going on right now. This is real talk. So, but yeah, Kevin, I'm gonna let you start off with what do you envision in the next couple months of next year?
Honestly, how I look at this is that sky's the limit, because you and Ed have more so like the technology side, whereas like I might be at a bar and just randomly see somebody having a bad day. Hey, my man, I got a podcast. You want to listen to it, talk about it? Like, it helps me to, and this is one thing that is self growth too from this, is that, learning how to approach situations, but not always having to, oh, you should do this, this, this. Like we've said in the past, to where it's just being courteous, but also being vulnerable enough to show that it's okay. Talk about it. And to really stretch this even as far as we could possibly imagine, to anywhere. I've been putting out a few posts on different platforms on social media and just different things, and trying to see like who would take a bite. And like I said, it's all a fishing game right now to me. Patience is key.
You definitely stretched that little bit of time that I gave you. All right.
Oh,
cool.
I'm sorry.
Eddie, cool.
But I'm gonna make it quick, man. Like I said, I'm grateful for this here podcast. Also, on top of that, man, I just see what we just gonna keep on doing what we're doing. We're gonna grow. We're gonna evolve. We're gonna elevate throughout the future. Get more people to listen. Just get more people involved, and the more we show that it's okay for African American men, black men to get together and talk, converse, and opine about what's going on in their mental health. I'm not gonna say it's gonna make life easy to live, but it'll be one less thing you got to worry about. So that's my mission, man. Just to let people know that hey, it's okay to be vulnerable and it's okay to talk about it. And black men, listen to me, black men, it's okay. We ain't got to be Harry Hardface all the time. We ain't got to be tough all the time. We can be vulnerable. It's okay. It's not against the law. Some of us have been raised, oh, no, shed no tear, do this, do that. The only thing you're doing is holding that inside and you're making yourself sick. That's all you're doing. But to those that are open to the listeners and the soon viewers, because it'd be nice if they could see some places. But just keep following us, man. Just keep on showing us love, keep on supporting, keep on checking in on Wednesdays, and I love you.
There it is.
That. There you go, stretching your time too. Brad, any last words? We got a minute left.
Just for the things to see this podcast grow as much as it can, whether it be, our topics, visually, if we do, do any like live stints or anything like that, just wanting to see this grow and make sure people do check in because, we need to check in sometimes in these crazy times that we're living in these days.
Absolutely. Brad B3, we greatly appreciate it. With that being said, for our listeners, our viewers, and everyone that's out there, this was the Wellness Check Wednesdays podcast. We encourage each and every one of y'all, each and every Wednesday, at any point of time, to let's check in.
One time for the one time. Yeah.
Thank you for listening to the Wellness Check Wednesdays podcast. Please join us every week, Wednesdays on Zoom at 6 p.m. and join our Facebook group for updates and to participate. We care about your mental health, so let's check in.